goods changes, do you have to sanctions check it again? You can bring those flows together. But it also expands out into other areas that on the same ships you can have CO2 sensors that are now providing information to you around about the freshness of the goods. And that can bring into other areas, other financial instruments and other products that you want to do. And what you can then link in is obviously the compliance and the sanctions checking and network entity checking, so in regards to who you're doing business with. And you can expose this both internally within your financial institution. You sanctions check the original transaction. As the flow of the goods changes, do you have to sanctions check it again? You can bring those flows together. But it also expands out into other areas that on the same ships you can have CO2 sensors that are now providing information to you around about the freshness of the goods. And that can bring into other areas, other financial instruments and other products that you want to do. And what you can then link in is obviously the compliance and the sanctions checking and network entity checking, so in regards to who you're doing business with. And you can expose this both internally within your financial institution, but also externally to your corporates and the people that are actively trading in these transactions. And then finally, I'd just like to touch on the digital ecosystem. And this is only a subset of the ecosystem just now. I mean, and some of the questions that we're going to see are going to be, what is the impact of COVID-19? I think I've seen a question on that just now. How do we think that is going to develop the marketplace? And quite simply, having talked with the ICC and a number of parties, as well as the work that we've done internally, digitization was ongoing within the trade ecosystem. We only think that that will accelerate. And one of the key tools for dealing with this, the main tool for dealing with this, will be open APIs. And the ability to access services and offerings from other providers as we make trade much more open and much more visible across both the financial, the physical and the corporate workspace. So key, Mark, top right, is going to talk about Compend in the third of the sessions here. But you look at other offerings in regards to, you know, Halo trade on provenance tracking, Mitogram extending out how corporates can get pricing within TradeFinex instruments, linking that into back office processing systems like Fusion Trade Innovation linking into networks like Marco Polo around about open account and supply chain financing. You then have ultimately as well, I think, within the impact of the pandemic around about the distribution of assets. So whether you're talking about CCRM, other things that are not shown on here like TallyX and that, and how you then take assets off the book of the bank so you can facilitate transactions with your customers, and you can then access the secondary market in other areas where you may have found it problematic at this point in time to do distribution or securitization of assets and then move them off the balance sheet on that basis. So this is just a subset of the digital ecosystem that we see in trade. All of these are accessible via open APIs. There's never one provider. I mean, if you look at TradeLens, we'll provide a great view in regards to some shipping companies, I think 10 to 12 in there. You then have other networks like GSBN, which will provide another 13 to 14 shipping networks. And it's interesting now that we are just making the trade ecosystem via all of these partners much more visible, much more a network, a ability to pool information and have visibility, and therefore other opportunities in regards to securitization and just, like I say, other product offerings that could come through the route of open APIs and actually opening up trade and making it much more visible and much more digital. So, Elena, that's it from me. I'll pass back to you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you